Hello, welcome back to the Clogger and Coffrin Classroom. It is Wednesday, April 15th, 2020, and we are chugging along in Letterbook W. Today we're going to start on page 7 of our letter book. You can go get your letter book and look with me. On page 7, you're going to see two boys. Do you notice anything interesting about these two boys? Take a look at them for just a second. Look at their face. Look at their hair and their clothing. What do we notice about them? Right, they look exactly alike. They are identical. Do you know what we call two children who look exactly alike? Correct. These boys are twins. 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 Do you know what twins are? Right. They are two children who have the same mother and father, and they are born at the same time. You might know a set of twins. I have had twins in my classroom before, many times. And what's important to remember about twins? What do you think is important to remember? Yes, we need to remember that twins are individuals. Even though they may look exactly alike, they might even dress alike. I had twins in my class one time that dressed exactly alike. And every morning I had to take a second to make sure I knew which was which because they're individuals. They had different likes and dislikes. They had different opinions about things. Sometimes they would talk a little bit differently. They like to play with different toys. They didn't necessarily like to play with the same thing. So it's important to remember that even though you might know someone who's a twin, there are differences between the two children. They're not exactly alike in terms of things they like or dislike. You'll notice that on page 7, our twins are holding something red in every illustration. Take a minute and look at the illustrations and see if you can figure out what they have that is red in each box. I'll give you just a second. Okay, let's look at them together. Let's start with the first box. They're holding something in their hand. I see a start right line there. And there are 3 dashes. That means there are 3 missing letters. Remember, when we see that, we have to put a letter to fill in. We know that our word ends in GS. What do they hold in their hand? Yes, flags. F-L-A-G-S. Flags. So we have to fill that in. F-O-L-L-A-G. Flags. So the rest of them I want you to fill in. But let's go over and see if we can figure out what the red item is in each one. What's red in this one? They both have wagons. There's our new sound. Wagons. See if you can write all the letters to spell wagon. Tap as you spell to make sure you have all the sounds. Go back and read your word and see if you can blend it and it makes sense. If not, you might be missing some sounds. At the bottom, they have puppets. 2 syllables. Remember how we spell a 2-syllable word? We break it apart. Pup. Up. Ooh, they gave us the first syllable. We only have to spell the second one. Pets. Puppets. Puppets. Pets. Puppets. See if you can write the word puppets. The last one. You know what I call that on their head? They have on wigs. There's our beginning sound. Wigs. Wigs. See if you can spell the word wigs. If you finish that, give yourself a check plus. Then we're going to flip over to an interesting page. You'll need 8 and 9 open. I'm going to give you a second to get your letter book if you don't have it, because we'll need to do this together. I have to read something to you as we walk along with Wendy Wentworth and her mother. They're in their city, as you can see, and there's a lot going on in our letter book. And so I'm going to read, and then you will follow along with your pencil. So you'll see a picture of a city with all its streets and buildings and activities going on. Let's see if we can find Wendy Wentworth coming out of her building. So if you look right here in the top corner, you'll see Wendy and her mom. I want you to put your pencil right there. This is where we're starting. So we're right over here with Wendy and her mom coming out of the building. You're going to put your pencil right here. And this is where our walk will start. I'm going to read to you, and you're going to see if you can figure out where you will be going next. That's Wendy with her mother in the corner of the top of your page. Wendy and her mother are going for a walk, and you can go with them. You and Wendy will know which street to take by following the clues that you hear. Just as Wendy and her mother were stepping out of the front door of their house on Willow Street, they heard such a loud racket that, of course, Wendy had to see what was making all the noise. So they walked down to the street just a little bit. Let me see if I can get that back. They walked down the street just a little bit until they saw Mrs. Wilson in front of her house. She was using an electric drill to put up a mailbox. So you'll take your pencil and draw a line to the star in the street right in front of Mrs. Wilson. And we're going to start right there. Stop right there for just a second. Wendy watched Mrs. Wilson as she worked. An electric drill can make a lot of noise. Oh no! Guess what? Wendy smells smoke. Then she heard another loud noise. As Wendy and her mother hurried along the street, the sound got louder and louder and louder. Can you guess what it was? They were standing in front of a big fire, and they saw the fire truck. So we're going to draw a line on the street from the star to the star in front of our fireman who's putting out a fire. Wendy and her mother didn't want to stay there long. So when they heard the sounds, they walked toward it. They heard a noise coming that sounded like dogs barking. Wendy and her mother left and walked along. Wendy watched as the two owners tried to calm their pets. Soon Wendy heard another sound. So you're going to come up here and stop at the dot where the dogs are barking. That's the next sound that Wendy's hearing, are the dogs barking. So we're going to stop right there and listen for our next clue. Wendy heard another sound. It was music. They hadn't listened for very long before the music was drowned out by a different sound, a sound of an air hammer pounding on the pavement. So they went around and moved down to where they could see a man with a jackhammer. So right here is a man with a jackhammer making all kinds of noise. So move your pencil from that star down to the jackhammer. So far, Wendy has gone to Mrs. Wilson in the mailbox, to the fireman putting out the fire, to the dogs barking, to the boy playing the music, to the jackhammer. So we're on the purple star now. Then Wendy heard some bells. Where do you think the bell sound might be coming from? She went around the corner to the church. And the church were playing the bells in the bell tower. So stop your pencil at the blue star. Wendy continued to walk along. She heard a playground, and then she went all the way till she heard some kids saying, "Strike, you're out." She was in front of a baseball game. So stop your pencil at the purple star in front of the baseball game. Suddenly, they heard more music. It sounded like an entire band. So Wendy and her mom walked along and stopped at the pink star and listened to the marching band as they paraded around the neighborhood. Wendy and her mom continued on their walk when they heard a large machine making a noise, and they realized that someone was compacting recyclables, and they saw the recycle truck. Then they heard some ducks at a pond. Ducks make the sound quack, quack. You'll stop at the Pink Star, where Wendy and her mom stopped to look at the ducks in a pond. Then Wendy continued along, and she heard some girls singing songs and saying, "Jump, jump, jump." She got to some kids on the playground who were jumping rope. We'll stop at the Blue Star. Then we're going to go all the way to the end of our page, to the empty box. See if you can find the white box at the end. Wendy and her mom heard the ice cream truck when they got to the end of their walk. Can you draw a picture of an ice cream truck with a person handing out ice cream cones? And that is the story of Wendy Whitworth and her mom taking a walk in their neighborhood. Give yourself a check plus. Today you will complete pages 7, 8, and 9, and I'll see you tomorrow to continue working in Letterbook W. Tomorrow will be our story.